Okay, let's talk about crypto bridges. They're super powerful, right? But man, they can be treacherous. So today, we're going to build your essential safety guide to get you across them safely. Moving your assets from one blockchain to another, it's starting to feel pretty routine. But the tech behind it, it's anything but simple. We're talking about this complex cocktail of smart contracts, messaging systems, and a whole lot of trust. And because of that, they've become one of the most common and costly failure points in all of crypto. The stakes aren't just high. We're talking about losing everything you put in. But here's the good news. You do not have to walk this path blind. Our whole goal today is to give you a real defense, something you can actually use. A practical, step-by-step verification workflow that you can pull out every single time you even think about bridging an asset. So, to build that defense, we gotta start at square one. We need to talk about the one fundamental ingredient you'll find in almost every single breach. It's a word you've seen a million times, but what does wrapped really mean for your assets? Right? You see it all over the place. Wrapped BTC, wrapped ETH. So what's the deal? Is it the same thing as the original? The short answer, and you absolutely have to get this, is no, not even close. The best way to think about a wrapped token is it's like an IOU, or even better, it's a coat check ticket. Imagine you go to a fancy party. You hand over your really nice coat. That's your original asset, your real ETH or BTC. In return, the attendant gives you a little ticket. That's your wrapped token. Now, that ticket is useful, right? You can carry it around the party, maybe even trade it, but its value depends entirely on one single crucial thing. That promise that when you go back to the coat check, they will give you your actual coat back. The ticket is not the coat. It's just a claim on the coat. And this right here, this is what really gets to the heart of it. It's all about a shift in trust. Look, when you hold actual Bitcoin on the Bitcoin network, what are you trusting? You're trusting the Bitcoin protocol itself. It's self-sovereign. But the second you swap that for a wrapped version, poof, your trust is no longer in Bitcoin. Now you're trusting the custodian, the bridge, the protocol that gave you that ticket. It's a totally different security game you're playing. And this brings us to our very first core mantra. If you remember nothing else, remember this. A wrapped token is a promise, not the asset. Just letting that sink in completely changes how you look at the risk you're taking. Okay, so we've established it's a promise. But, that promise can be made in a couple of different ways. Not all these coat checks are built the same. And that brings us to the two main models of trust that you're going to find out there with bridges. So on one hand, you've got custodial bridges. Think of this as trusting a specific group of people. It could be a company or a multi-sig wallet held by a few known individuals. Here, your risk is all about them. It's human. It's operational. What happens if they get hacked? Or what if they just disappear? Then, on the other hand, you have what we call trust-minimized bridges. With these, you're not trusting people anymore. You're trusting the code. Your assets are locked in a smart contract. So the risk totally changes. Now it's technical. Is there a bug in that code? Is there some backdoor hacker could find? And honestly, this distinction, it's everything. You just can't properly figure out your risk if you don't even know who or what you're trusting. Is it a group of people, or is it a bunch of code? Answering that one question has to be your first step before you do anything else. All right, so we get the concepts. We understand the difference between the asset and the promise, and the different ways that promise is made. Now let's get to the most important part, the part you can actually use. Let's build your practical, step-by-step, cross-chain safety checklist. Okay, let's walk through this together step by step. Step one is simple, identify. Is the token you're about to get a wrapped token? If it's on a chain that isn't its native home, the answer is almost definitely yes. Okay, step two, find the source. You need to go to the official project docs. I'm not talking about some random guy on Twitter, and find the official contract address for that token. Step three, verify it on chain. Easy. Copy that address, pop it into a block explorer like Etherscan, and just confirm it's the real deal. Now for step four, check the controls. This is where you put on your detective hat. Who actually controls this contract? Is it a multisig? Is there a time lock to stop sudden changes? Have they been audited? This is how you figure out who really holds the keys to the kingdom. Step five, understand the failure modes. You have to ask yourself, what needs to be true for me to get my original asset back? And what could possibly go wrong here? And finally, the most important step of all, step six, just stop. If you can't find clear answers to any of these questions, if something feels even a little bit off, just stop. Do not pass go. The risk is simply not worth it. Okay, I know that might sound like a lot, so let's boil it all down. If there is just one single idea you take away from all of this, let it be this one. So let's recap the core principles here. First, bridges always add complexity and risk. Second, wrapped tokens mean you're trusting a third party, plain and simple, which brings us back to mantra number 1. A wrapped token is a promise, not the asset itself. And that flows right into mantra number 2, verify first, then trust. You have to do the work yourself. Because at the end of the day, the most powerful security tool you have in this space isn't some fancy software, it's your own verification process. So let's say you've done all this. You've done your homework, you've verified the bridge, you get the control structure, and you understand the promise you're holding in your wallet. But that just brings up an even deeper question, doesn't it? Especially when we talk about things like stablecoins. What is actually backing that promise? What does it really mean when someone tells you an asset is backed? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into next time.